It's amazing. You have an amazing city. I'm very, very happy to be here. My name is Geertjan Wielenga. It's a very difficult name to pronounce because it's Dutch. And my Twitter handle is down there, Geertjan W. Feel free to send me a tweet or something. I'm a product manager working in NetBeans. I'm originally a programmer and a writer, and I've been part of the NetBeans organization for about 10 years now, and I've really enjoyed it very much, and I especially enjoyed the session before this with Mark explaining why he likes NetBeans and how he uses it. This topic isn't really directly about NetBeans, but about a slightly different theme, about the Java world and the HTML5 world. And if you're an HTML5 developer, and if you're both, then you can put up your hand for both, okay? So who here would consider themselves to be a Java developer? You create Java applications. Many people. Put your hand up very high. Okay, that's a lot, okay? So let's say the next question, what about HTML5? Who here does JavaScript development, Angular, Knockout, Backbone? Definitely less, okay? So I'm here to tell you how those two different worlds can be combined and why it might make sense to do that. I also have some t-shirts with me, just like Mark, and at the end I'll let you ask some questions. If you ask a really good question, you get a t-shirt or something like that. To start with, here's a bunch of pictures, and these pictures are logos of different technologies. For example, no surprise, the first one in the top left is Angular, so a popular JavaScript framework. But these other logos are from different technologies. But when we say HTML5, we mean more than just the enhancements in HTML. We also mean all of these JavaScript frameworks. A couple of years ago, if you went to a conference, every time you would hear about a new Java web framework, there would be a new Java web framework, and it would be the solution to all the problems in the world. Use this Java web framework, and then next week there will be another one, a new Java web framework that solves new problems, and this was happening all the time. There were dozens of Java web frameworks. They're still there, but the majority of them aren't being actively developed. There are several still being developed. In the JSF component space, one of the ones that's still being developed is prime faces. So there's a session after lunch specifically about prime faces that you can go to. But all this innovation in the web front-end space is now happening with JavaScript. So now you're hearing about these JavaScript frameworks all the time, and just when you've learned everything there is about Grunt, someone says to you, yeah, files and XML files in most cases. We have Java files and annotations in the Java files, so everything is in one place. We don't have to switch between different types of files and so on. But now, if you switch to the HTML ecosystem and you want to use that in some way in your applications, you have the problem that you have to deal with JavaScript, you have to deal with HTML, you have to deal with CSS, and all of those three at the same time. You have to switch between them and think about them in different ways. And you can't think in purely one language anymore, as you can with Java. So, for that purpose, I don't have to refresh the browser. And the reason for that is that I've installed a plugin into the Chrome browser. This is a NetBeans plugin created for Chrome. We can go to the Chrome Web Store. So I'm going to go to Settings, and in Settings, there is the Extensions tab. And here you can see I have NetBeans Connector as one of my extensions. And you can get this for free. You can go to the Chrome Web Store, get more extensions, install that into your Chrome browser, and then, but it becomes even handier than that. I'm going to make this a bit smaller so you can see these two together. I'm going to show you the one next to the other. So, what I can environment from the other one. So now I'm going to say start inspect in NetBeans mode. I've done that. And now I'm going to drop this window. I can see that in the bottom left, my mouse is on the H1 and it's automatically selected in the browser. I move up and you can see that as I move in the browser, in NetBeans, the browser changes, and vice versa. So I select here, so now I'm on the H1. So normally when you're developing a website and you deploy your website in a browser during development, you have a hard time figuring out where the things are back in your development environment. Well, here we have one index HTML, but normally you would have hundreds possibly of HTML files. So how do you find the items in the browser quickly? Interesting thing is that what if I didn't know where the CSS file was found? So what you can do is we can say show the styles. So these are the styles. Now of this, so I've currently selected this H1, and there's a style, and it's yellow, and I can change it here to something different, and immediately it's updated. And I can jump from here, from the color to the source, and there it is in the source. So you can see that with a tool, what you have is the possibility of combining your HTML with your CSS, with your JavaScript, with your images, because we also have an image here, so we just did creating a website. We're not doing anything really fancy here, and tools can really be helpful. So now I add a image, and I save it, and here is the car. Okay, so this is the car image that we have here. It's added into the site. So again, I can click on this, I can see where the image is defined. So here in the bottom left, again, you can see the live DOM that is visible in the browser. And from there, I can jump directly into the source. So here, I can jump into the source, as I'm doing now. And you put it onto your server, and there's a URL, and the user goes to that URL on the browser on their phone. Or you create a native application, an Android application or an iPhone application. But that means a lot of investment of time and energy and skills and so on. And normally, either you have the skills of the Android developer or you have the skills of the iPhone developer in-house. It's not normal to have both in-house in most organizations. So there is a kind of in the middle solution between that called Cordova or Ferngate. And what that does is it lets you can just download Cordova, install it, and there's a command line tool, you can type Cordova, and the command pointing to your HTML files and your JavaScript files to that folder. And then around that folder, a native Android or native iPhone application will be generated. Now you can do all of that, but you can also have it integrated directly into your development environment. So I can go to the properties of the application, and I can see here is Cordova. And now I can say here, create Cordova resources. And now what actually is happening is that Cordova that you would run on the command line is now being run inside of NetBeans. So now you also need to set up your Android location, and when you do your build, what you will have is an Android application, an APK file, an actual native APK file that you can deploy directly from within NetBeans to your Android device. So via Cordova, or you can deploy directly to the device, to Chrome on the device, or to the emulator, or you can do all of that kind of deployment directly in NetBeans. The nice thing is, when you deploy an HTML, just a pure HTML application to your device, you can do exactly the same thing as I showed in the browser here. So if I run this again in the Chrome browser, so just clicking from here into NetBeans, you can also do from your mobile device. So I can be holding my device and I see this website, and I can click on the image on the device, and I can see in NetBeans it being selected in the browser. So there's the same integration between the browser on the desktop you also have on your mobile device, on Android or on iPhone. And you try and compare different things with each other. What you are actually comparing is the searches that people have done on those terms. Okay? So, for example, one of the most popular results from the searches that was done on Angular is an article with the headline, some company adds support for jQuery and eliminates AngularJS complexity. Manager, it will take me 3 months to create this CRUD application, and you do it in 5 minutes, and then you spend the other time contributing to open source projects. Okay? That's what you can do. So you can combine these two worlds together. The top layer of your application can be HTML5, which gives you the freedom to choose whatever JavaScript framework you like, and make sure to make it as modular as possible so that you can switch to a different framework when your current framework dies and another one comes up. And just try and keep it as loosely coupled as possible. And the lowest layer, you use the parts of Java EE that make sense. You don't need all of it. You can choose which parts you want. You can choose. There's a survey that's been done about Java EE, and there's new specifications coming out. There's a roadmap. A lot of people are discussing it, and so on. There's different possibilities that are being discussed. MVC, you can join the JSR process. But my conclusions are, first of all, be very careful. That's the main message. Be careful what you choose. The things that are cool today are not cool tomorrow. And secondly, as you have seen, HTML5 is very innovative. Constantly there are new things, but be careful. If you believe in new things today, you will believe in other new things tomorrow. Try and look at what the slowest members of the software ecosystem are doing, and try and follow with the slowest ones, because slow is sometimes safer. You can innovate in the sense of you can investigate everything, but in production, be careful what you put in production, because that's going to be difficult to fix if the framework that you're using suddenly disappears. Java EE can very easily be used as the basis of these applications. Finally, choose the tools that integrate all of these together. As you can see, it's great if you have one single environment where you can do JavaScript work, where you can do Java EE development, you can do Android, you can do HTML, you can do Python, you can do Scala. It's extendable, you can contribute to it, it's open source. But it's a great combination of technologies to create really useful applications.